In this conversation, we're talking to Joseph Mack about the power music can have to transform lives. Welcome to Happiness Adventure. I'm Lisa, and together we'll explore ways to cultivate real joy in our lives. Welcome to Happiness Adventure, Joseph.
Thank you.
You're a formally trained musician. How did you get your start?
At the tender age of 14 or 15 years old, I locked myself in my bedroom for a whole summer and taught myself how to play piano. I love to produce music. I love to make music. And I never really had the resources or someone to show me how to actually do that. So it required a little bit of creativity. So cassette tapes was probably where I first started. I had a little keyboard. So what I did is I took a microphone, plugged it into my stereo, connected it to the speaker of my keyboard, and had to play 4 minutes of one instrument in hopes that I played it all on beat. And as that tape was playing, I had another tape on the other side. So it would continue to overdub. And that's how I was learning how to create music and teach myself how to play and recreate music that I was listening to at that time.
That is so resourceful.
Yeah.
You're producing music at 10.
Yes. Producing music at 10, professionally at 15, 16.
How are you using music today?
So now I use music to inspire and engage young people that are really in some tough places. And it's cool to see because young people now, the technology has just come so far. And it's really, really easy to have a young person sit next to you and teach them how to produce music now.
Our viewers may be familiar with the organization you work with, David's Harp Foundation,
Yes.
because Brandon Stepp visited us a
Yes.
while back. But for those who aren't, will you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. We are a nonprofit based out of San Diego, California, that we use music as a platform to mentor and engage and inspire at-risk youth and homeless youth as well.
And in what ways do you do that?
Through the power of music. And I think it's one of the ways that we really do that, and we do it really well, is through transparency. It's allowing young people to come into a space and for teaching artists to share with them that, you know, they make mistakes too. We're not perfect. And unfortunately, the posture that a lot of these young people are mostly kind of confronted with is normally one of do what I say. And this authoritative type of perspective in a young person's life, they push that away. It goes through one ear and out the next.
Yeah.
But through, you know, music and engaging young people in the studio, we get an opportunity to hear some pretty amazing stories and some very sad ones as well.
I bet.
But it's so cool because the place really gives a young person the opportunity to transform, to be different than they were the day before. So,
whether in a music studio or elsewhere, how do you think that we can practice vulnerability to build real connection, especially with people we'd like to mentor?
absolutely. I think one of the best ways to do that is by meeting people where they're at. You know, I see that every week when we get an opportunity to go into juvenile hall. It's a very sobering feeling when you walk in and you hear those doors slam. And it's also very relieving to know that you get to go home. But for those young people that we're in there with, they are not. And it's a very, very harsh reality as you are leaving that place. But the connection, the real true connection comes in when you're able to sit there and really tell them the troubles of the day. And let's not sugarcoat it. We all have them, you know? You know, it very recently, you know, my wife and I had a baby 6 months ago, and explaining to these young men the troubles that we were dealing with, such as if my wife has a baby while I'm in here, guys, it's gonna be tough, you know? But they were able to make a connection and really connect and really just have a little bit of empathy for me. How is that?
Yeah.
And you know, as time has progressed and we've been working with these young people, we're continuing to do that and we're getting better at it as well. So I think it really just takes a little bit of time to just be transparent with these young people.
Yeah. When you're mentoring youth in the juvenile justice system, I imagine that there are some setbacks and heartbreaks. How
Yeah.
do you deal with those?
There's some mental toughness that it really takes to be able to be happy and sustain that happiness. And the reason that is because it's an emotional roller coaster. But one thing you have to understand about this is that success is not linear. So sometimes you're gonna hear a lot of bad stuff before you're gonna hear some good stuff.
Yeah.
But it's always great because if you can encourage a young person how to make a good decision after they've already made a bad one, it changes the trajectory of where they're gonna be.
Yeah.
You know, it's super inspiring to see. Someone told me that as long as I have air in my lungs, I will always have an opportunity to do something different and be happy. And I tell young people that too, in spite of their current circumstances. But I think the most encouraging part about it is when you get next to them and you get to do music together for the first time, and a story comes from that. Stories are great tips on how to write just powerful music. And these young people write some pretty powerful stuff. But I think in that moment when we get a chance to talk, it's really easy for them to see that if they make the right decision, this could change for them permanently. So yeah, I think for me, it's just really about seeing them smile for a moment. And when other people around them, the crazy part is when you get to see other people around them and they don't recognize them as incarcerated youth, they recognize them as teens.
Yeah.
You know, the toughness and the grime and grit starts to melt off of them. And you get to really truly see that this is really just a young person that made some bad mistakes, you know, so.
Strip the label away.
Absolutely. And I think that's for me, the happiest thing is when you can change someone's perspective.
So you're the director of programs at David's Harp. What do the programs actually look like, and what would a day in the life be like for a teen that's in the program?
Absolutely. So for our studio students, those are students that we have that are referred into the program through, you know, one of our 21, 22 referring partners with different high schools and organizations. Those students get an opportunity to come into the studio space. And it's amazing because you get to see their eyes light up. For some of these young people, they've never, ever been into a studio before. So they get to actually touch a mixing console for the first time. They get to see, you know, a $250,000 console or a $6,000 Neumann microphone or, you know, all the mics and preamps and all the buttons lighting up. It's inspiring for them because now they feel like they made it. But for more importantly, what it shows them when they come in, because they're kind of scared, they don't want to touch anything. And I'm like, no, touch it, because you're worth it. And they need to understand that there's value in who they are and what they do. But when they come in, we're going to hit the ground running. And typically for a 6-week program, the idea is that at the end of the 6 weeks, these young people actually walk away with a song, an original piece that they've written, produced, recorded, edited, mixed, and mastered, which is a lot.
In such a short period of time.
Yes, they get about, it's a 2-hour class and it's for 6 weeks. So they get about 12 hours of class time. They have to do that in a short amount of time. Yeah.
For the teens who are incarcerated, what does their program look like?
So their program looks a little bit similar to that. The only difference is that our teaching artists go in with backpacks filled with studio equipment. I call them the backpacks of hope because that's what it represents to these young people. They get the same exposure. Unfortunately, they just don't get the studio-like experience. But the quality of the music and the quality of the recording that they get is still the same. We still teach them how to produce or make beats. So they'll learn how to use Pro Tools and they'll learn how to use Native Instruments machine. They'll learn a little bit about theory. They'll learn exactly what you know, instrumentation selection looks like. How do they pick out certain instruments and how are they going to arrange their beat. And then we go into songwriting. Songwriting is really cool for young people because it kind of gives them an opportunity to be free in a place where they're not. So they'll sit down. A lot of these young people, they come in with stacks of songs that they've already written. And I always have this joke with them. I'm like, you've got more raps than you've got homework. Like, what are you doing? But it's amazing to see because they are constantly writing. No different than what a person would do at night when they're writing in their journal.
Yeah. How have you seen this program change a teen's life?
After every class inside East Mesa, when we're walking back to their unit, I always ask the interns what they learned today. And we'll call this young man Mr. Campbell. So Mr. Campbell says to me, I learned that I'm really good at motivating people.
Wow.
Which is extremely powerful. He said he did not know that prior to the program. And since then has been released and is now in our externship program and he's partnered with Workforce Partnership right now. Oh. And he's doing audio podcasting, which kind of leads back to the next thing with Mr. Campbell. A month after he was released, was at the wrong place at the wrong time and ended up getting incarcerated again. Oh. But that doesn't change anything in terms of where he's going to be. Yeah. And he's getting released in 2 more weeks. So we're excited for that.
But I see the roller coaster that you're talking about. It is.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And right now, even though he's incarcerated, he feels like he let us down, but he didn't. He's got to understand that he still has an opportunity to change his life. Yeah. This isn't over for him. And I know it's hard, and I know I'm smiling about that, but I'm even more excited to see what he does when he comes back home. Yeah.
What is it about music that you think is helpful to young people?
I think more than anything, music presents a story to a young person that they can relate to, whether they're going through a heartache, pain, happiness. They turn on their phone and they put on that little speaker and they just zone out and they enjoy themselves. Yeah. And music takes people to specific times in their minds where something either, traumatic happened or something really profound happened in their life. I have songs that I listen to that are kind of like timeless songs that I can specifically remember what I was doing at that time when I heard that song. Yeah. So I think that's also the power too. It's almost like roadmaps in our life. Like, oh yeah, I remember when I was there. Yeah. So.
And I love the idea of songwriting from within, being incarcerated and being able to write a song about anything, setting them free.
Absolutely. And I think now you would think a lot of their music would be, I can't wait till I get, no, some of their music is some very harsh stuff, but sometimes there's apologies that these young people haven't been able to tell people sorry for in a very long time. And it gives them an opportunity to do that through the music. Yeah. So it's almost like if you don't really understand what forgiveness is and, you're trying to ask someone for forgiveness, you can do it through the music. Yeah. Yeah. Very powerful.
Liberating.
Yeah, it is. And they like I said, they're not necessarily free, but you can see chains being broken in that place when young people are doing music.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What do you see as the connection between music and joy?
So I'm just gonna play a little bit of music theory for the music theory geeks. So we have these things called minor chords and major chords. Major chords are very happy. They make us want to skip down the street, singing or whistling our favorite tunes. Minor chords are very sad. They can darken up things just a little bit. Yeah. Music really allows us to walk into those worlds. You hear a sad song and you're able to connect with that sad artist. But imagine if you listened to something that was inspiring and encouraging every day. Your mindset would be completely different. And I think that's what music does, is that it takes people out of their current situation and transports them somewhere else to their happy place. It may not be the place that they're in right now, but it could be that beach or that boat or that river or that mountain or whatever it is. And then they start to see and start to understand that they can really attack some of these giants that they have in their life. And it inspires people to do that.
Yeah.
It's crazy because if you understand what BPMs are, beats per minute, the faster the BPM, the higher the heart rate starts to go up. People get excited. I think that's the connection.
How has music led to more happiness in your life?
I love things that are very nostalgic, that take me back to a time where I'm like, wow, I can't believe I went through that and survived it. And so for me, that's a lot of R&B music and a lot of jazz music. And some of it's not upbeat, but it literally gives me that sense where I can kind of reflect and really truly understand where I came from and where I'm at now, you know, the story, you know, and what led up to where I'm at right now. And I think that's what gives me joy, because there was definitely a time in my life where I didn't think I was going to make it to 35 or 40. I easily could have been one of these young people that I work with just because of the neighborhood I grew up in. But music kind of changed that perspective for me. It allowed me to see something different outside of my current circumstances, especially in life. You know, you can be down and out. Music can change your whole mood and your whole day. Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite song that you're listening to right now?
Oh man, that's tough. Okay, I can't really say a favorite song, but I can definitely give you a favorite artist. My favorite artist of all time would have to be a guitarist by the name of Pat Metheny. He wrote a song called Last Train Home. And I heard it at a very young age. And I don't know why I liked it, but I loved it. But it was like one of those songs that I heard it as we were leaving a funeral procession. And it was a very somber moment with myself, with my family. And that song came on, and it just kind of gave hope to me that, like, wow, like, it's going to be okay. You know, as we're leaving, this is kind of like the natural progression of life. So it kind of empowered me to take advantage and not sit around and be lazy. Get up off my butt and do something.
How are you cultivating joy in your life right now?
Every morning I start off with thanking God for air in my lungs and the opportunity to do it again. And not letting the failures of yesterday overshadow my opportunity for successes in that same day. And I look over at the side of my room and I see my baby girl. And it's inspiring because my wife and I had a miscarriage prior to her coming. And we didn't quite know and understand if we were going to have another one. But it's just amazing to see what just faithfulness looks like and diligence looks like. And just keeping at it and love, and seeing my family, my son, my daughter, just kind of surrounding that. And that's what gives me joy. That's how I cultivate joy. And we dance as a family. We sing. Of course, my son sings as loud as he can in the morning. It's, oh gosh, he's in choir right now. So yeah, we enjoy each other by listening to music every morning, or some type of powerful message.
Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We just heard from Joseph Mack about the power of music to transform lives. And the link to David's Harp Foundation is in the description box right below this video, so be sure to check that out. In the comments section, let me know, what is your favorite song right now? Subscribe for a new video each week, and I look forward to seeing you soon for our next happiness adventure.